So we are going to be looking at a scenario where civilization starts over. We are on episode 54, and in the last episode we saw the start of, the communist versus the fascist war, with Adaria invading into the Magenta country, and the Magenta country is a communist nation. Remember, the Triangle Alliance is like NATO as well as the X or the Cross Alliance, but the Checkmark Alliance is more of just, we'll support you. But anyways, let's go ahead and try to get 100 likes on this video. I mean, can we do it? And anyways, let's go ahead and get into episode 54, Fascism versus Communism. So, starting back up over here in this front line over here, we see Adarian troops pretty much completely taking over this area very quickly. And so in the first few weeks of the war, we see total annexation, or just occupants, of the Magenta country, and they are wiped off the map again, not by the blue team this time though. Cyprus saw the Lime team as a big threat, so they did have troops on this border just like this, and we see Cyprus invading into the Lime team on all of their border. These guys are going to form a spearhead to try and cut the country in half, but it's going to stop right here, and this leads to a pushback by the Lime team. Over in the African front, we also see Adaria push into the red southern Tunisian country, and, they capture the whole border very quickly. This red country is very weak. They have a big population, but they are very weak, as we see, all these lands get put under military occupation by Adaria. Let's go down to Yemen, because Yemen, they actually have a front line. I didn't realize that, but they do, and it's over with Sudan. And, we see a couple naval landings being made inside of Sudan, and a push-up from the border just like this, going around, and, Yemen is stronger than Sudan. And we actually also see a naval landing inside of the northern part of Sudan, and this is very bad for Sudan, as their capital is almost captured. We also see Yemen go ahead and wipe this thing off the map after quite a while. A big front line in this war is in this Chinese region, as we see Chinese forces push back into these lands that they used to own, but got pushed out of inside of World War III. But the Koreans are going to pull off a massive invasion inside of this tip right here, taking over all of these lands. We also see Vietnam make a small invasion into China, but they only get this far before Chinese troops arrive at the front line. We see all the fascist nations inside of America sending troops over to Asia. And we see Greenland actually pulling off an offensive into these Canadian islands up over here, taking over a lot of these regions. And, the reason they're doing this is Canada didn't really have much troops up over here when they should have. They didn't really take Greenland seriously. Now there's actually sending troops up here, so be prepared for a pushback. But we see Canada taking over all of these lands just like this. Soon in the African front, we see Libyan troops arriving over here, so it leads to a big pushback, recapturing all of these lands. And we see a big push into Adaria. This is a lot bigger than the Adarian leader thought it would be, so this is crippling for the Adarian economy as they get back all of these lands. If you remember, Adaria invaded into Algeria. The rest of Algeria did unite with this red team, but this Algerian government that still relies inside of this red team wants it back. So that is why we see, them pushing into this nation so hard. We see Cyprus make a naval landing through the Black Sea, and they connect up this front line. And, this is not going good for the green team so far. We see red team troops make a landing and start re-liberating parts of the magenta team. Finally, they're being really re-liberated inside of history. Pretty much every single time before this, they didn't. But we see a big push from the red team into these areas, and the red team is a communist nation, along with this gray country up here and this purple one. Bad news for the Korean team, as Japan may have just declared their independence away because they don't really want to be ruled underneath a fascist regime anymore. We see their puppet state declare independence away from these guys, and a lot of the Japanese here have died because of this whole fascism. But that's not all, as their southern Japanese part also declares independence away, and, it's even worse because the Japanese also take over this island. With that happening, the Chinese are able to push out the Koreans over here, as well as push into the Koreans up north, and, a lot of land has been made and this is not going good for the fascists so far. But there is some good news for the fascists, I guess. Yemen has successfully taken over the Red Sea areas of Sudan, and they continue to push into these areas more and more each day until they don't really take this area seriously, and well, they kind of just take it. Now with the area over here that was distracting them the most gone, they kind of want to get up to Babylon. Babylon is protected by this blue country right here. Well, not protected, but they don't have a border, so why not invade this country right here, take their capital, and, well, set up a border with Babylon. They're not waiting for no peace treaty. They incorporate that blue team into their empire as quick as they can, as we see an invasion of Babylon happening. And, well, Babylon had pretty much no troops down here because they did not think that the Yemenis would invade into that blue country, which they did, which was kind of stupid by Babylon. So Babylon is going to get messed around, and their capital gets taken, and this shows how strong Yemen is. They have just wiped out 3 countries in, well, how much has Korea done? Nothing. It's even bad, too, as the Vietnamese have just been pushed back, and now a massive invasion into their country is being made, and it's not going good for the Vietnamese. You see this Indian country right here? Yeah, you see it? Well, you're about not to. The Indians join this war, and, well, they begin sending their troops down. And, well, they take over this country because, well, weak. The Indian Federation does not really see any, hope for these guys. They don't really like communism. They also don't like fascism. They are a democratic nation. More republic. Well, kind of like republic, democratic nation. They signed some treaties with Sri Lanka, and, well, before they can even really finish it, this area over here. You think I wasn't going to do a daily Sri Lanka update? I mean, it's been a little bit. Sri Lanka has been united for too long. This is not good because Cyprus was actually receiving quite a bit of troops from this country, so Cyprus goes ahead and declares war on India. But India pulls a funny, and, well, before really anything can happen, India joins the Checkmark Alliance, and they're probably not going to be in it for long. It's just for safety. Cyprus then kind of just recalls their war, sorry, we did not mean it. The people down over here are like, what the But they can't do anything about it because India has the most population in the world. It's going bad even in Turkey as we see Lime team troops push back the Cypriots pretty much all the way back to the border. And, well, religion has been catching up with Cyprus quite a bit. The Cypriot Empire is starting to crumble. And, well, it's not going good for Cyprus, because if you can look at the religions, there's quite a lot of different religions in this area, and there's a land-hungry power right above you, so, hold out. That is exactly what Cyprus is going to do, and they set up a defensive line along this border right here, but, sharks are lurking inside of the waters. A very tiny little ship lands inside of the northern part of the Cypriot island. And, well, not only are all of these guys pushed out, a small little offensive is made, pushing back these areas and recapturing all of this. But Cyprus is unable to get back the rest of this. Iberia even manages to retake all of these lands over in Iberia back. And, well, the red team is looking more and more likely that they might leave this war because they do not really care about Cyprus. They don't really care about communism anymore. It's a stupid idea. The fascist Koreans are going to be able to push back against the Chinese quite a bit. They get back this area up over here and push back against the Chinese in the south. But they are unable to kick the Chinese fully out of Korean territory, which frustrates them. Israel may have just pulled off a funny. The Cyprus leader is pissed about this, and they're really thinking about going to war with the Checkmark Alliance. But they're going to hold off because the Cross Alliance is a lot stronger than they thought. So although they want to help Babylon, they can't. Russia is also going to pretty much full throttle their troops into some of these micronations over here, taking over quite a few, and, well, this is not good. As, well, these religions, this whole religious age is starting to slowly come to an end. I'm not saying it's going to end in this episode, although it very well could. Over in the Adarian front, we see a big pushback by the Adarians, recapturing all of this land, and, well, bad stuff has just happened for the red team, as their economy is now through the floor, and a re-invasion of the southern Tunisian country happens, and well, it's not going good for these guys. And so what they're going to do after the Adarians reach about to here, they go ahead and surrender so that way they don't lose any further territory over to Adaria. Let's go ahead and go check on our good pal Vietnam. Well, our good old pal Vietnam has just suffered a tiny civil war. This central area broke away. All this went to China, and well, the Indonesian country got all of this. Greenland, well, Canadian troops finally get up to over here, and well, it goes as well as you expected. Canada has more population than Greenland, and well, it goes about like this, with Canada making a landing up over here, and well, Greenland pretty much just falls over to Canadian hands. You see, Iowa. Well, Iowa, they're trying to make a trade with Texas to move their land up, kind of up and south. But Texas says no, and well, what happens is Iowa goes ahead and leaves the alliance. This then comes with an invasion by the fascist American team, and well, bye to Iowa. China gets fully pushed back against the Greeks, and well, China, they leave the war. They want to keep this land down here, and they don't really care about Korea. They also put up the middle finger over to Cyprus, and Cyprus puts it right back. A breakthrough has been made, and well, this is terrible news for the Triangle Alliance. The Checkmark Alliance may have just pulled off a funny, and now they're invading full throttle into Libya. Before this happened, though, we do see Cyprus pull off an offensive against the Green Team, pushing back a lot of these lands just like this. And, well, they pretty much fully capture their border back, but they are unable to push back into the Lime Team. They did have troops on this front line with Israel, so they do push into Israel, and, well, they're kind of heartbroken because, well, the military leader may have just died. Maybe from sickness. That plague that I said left may kind of have a small variant still going around. And we have a new leader coming into power. His name is Zalrons. Zalrons has a new idea for this war, but it's going to be a risky one. Well, he wants revenge over Russia, so his goal, send full throttle troops into Russia, capture the capital, and now we all speak Cypriot, and we eat Cyprus food. Cyprus does not really care about Israel. They don't really care about communism. I mean, the leader doesn't. So, he starts lining troops up along here, and well, only Israel is in this war because, well, the Checkmark Alliance is not a attack one, attack all. It's a join if you want to. So Russia and all the other Checkmark Alliance members are supporting Israel, but they aren't joining. Cyprus, if this works, they could be the strongest country in the world. But let's not focus on that now. Let's go over to Yemen, because Yemen is cool. Yemen starts full throttling troops into Kuwait, and well, one of the oldest countries in the world at this point, at least in the Middle East, is being invaded by a strong country, and well, Kuwait is going to just surrender immediately. They do not want to fight this war. They are the most neutral country in the world, I'd say. And, well, they just don't want to fight this fight. Bad part about having multiple religions is they're kind of prone to kind of rebel away from you. Iraq rebels away from the Cypriot Empire, and well, Cyprus is going to immediately sign a ceasefire with the rebels, saying we'll give you independence, just don't touch us right now. But this rebellion group is terrible for Cyprus, as all their lands inside of Israel are pushed back, and a small but big offensive is made into the Cypriot Empire. Cyprus is crumbling right now, and it's not going good for them. But a good thing is about to happen for Cyprus, mainly. The Lime Team right here is almost out of money, so they're going to drop out of the war, which now means Zalrons, after having probably like half his military up here, is going to be able to move the military that was down over here on this border down over to Israel. And Zalrons, well, it turns out he didn't really love all this religious stuff going on, and so secretly he is may have been remaking guns. Not remaking, but they have been making guns again. And, well, not all of these guys have guns, so, that happens. Zalorans is not going to push into Israel. Their focus is on Russia and getting revenge over nothing, pretty much. Since there's not a lot of fighting going up over there, we see Israel continuing to push into Libya, and this is not good for the Libyan team. As well, a lot of their areas are falling, and what they're going to do is sign a peace treaty with both of the area, and, well, they're going to leave this war. And, well, this is good for Israel, but very bad for Cyprus, because now all these troops are starting to be moved over to this front line. And then finally, on August 17th, 1952, Zalron's master plan comes to light when the invasion of Russia happens, and, well, this is a very quick invasion. Russia was not expecting this at all. This is kind of like what happened in World War II, where the Soviet Union was not expecting Germany to invade them, but Zalron has just kind of mimicked it, and now they're pushing up towards Moscow, which I'm just going to call Moscow. Instead of going straight to Moscow, they're going to focus on capturing these major cities just like this, reaching out and capturing a lot of these major cities. And a lot of the Russian army was up over here taking over these little tiny little tiny states over here. So they're going around the Cass. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not cutting that out probably, because you guys deserve to know how bad I am at naming this thing. This is the Persian Gulf. This is the Caspian Sea. But the blue team is going to actually join this war to help out Russia, and their troops are going to push back against the Cypriot ones quite a bit, but only about to here, until the offensive is made again, reaching back over to these areas, and the invasion of the blue team happens, but it's only a small one, capturing like 5 major cities, 4 actually. So I need to work on my numbers. But Zalorans is still focusing in on Russia, taking over more major cities, but now the Russian army has arrived, and, well, it's going to be a deadly battle. Some people call this World War IV, but it's not World War IV, because no fighting is happening over in South America. It is right here that the world sees Russia's strength. Russians focus in on this Ukrainian area because they had a lot of population over here, and they do not want Ukraine to rebel away again, taking back these areas in Crimea, and they begin and take over all of the Crimean Peninsula. Zalorans was not expecting this, and, well, all of the Triangle Alliance members have just left, so now, it is just Cyprus versus pretty much everyone else. Cyprus tries to redo this, push to the capital. They get a little far, but then massive troops from Russia carrying muskets just descend on the Cypriots, and it's not going good. They lose all of their Ukrainian area that they have just invaded into within a month or two. So instead of focusing in on the Ukrainian area, they began a massive push up into these regions to try and get Russia to surrender, to show, I am invading your land so much right now, you should, so surrender. Zalorans thinks he's doing a great move, but that one thing could have just caused him the war. The Russian emperor has just organized a movement across this little strait right here, and now Russian Empire troops are pouring into this area over here, and, well, Zalorans just pissed his pants. Russian troops get behind these Cypriot lines and take over all of these lands, and this results in a pushback by the Russians, taking back all of these lands. To make it even worse for Cyprus, the Lime team has just violated a peace treaty. The Lime Turks cross over the border for the second time in this war, and, well, the Cypriot citizens are not happy with Zalorans right now, especially because the Lime team has just bolted across and may have just cut off all these northern areas off from the actual main Cypriot Empire. The Lime team, well, there wasn't really many troops down over here, so the Lime team is going to take all of this and say, I'm leaving the war, so you can't do anything about it. Zalaron is going to say, no, you're not. We're still at war. And well, the bad thing is cars, planes, internet has not really been invented yet. So when these guys up here are like, hey, can we get some more supplies? They get zero response because, well, the cavalry that they sent down here to get some more supplies, they kind of got gunned down by Lime Team forces and Russian forces. These guys, realizing what happened, they kind of start bolting out of this territory because it may be Russian winter, and you might not want to be inside of Russia when it's winter. Kind of like what happened with Napoleon. On both sides, Russians start squeezing in on the Cypriot lines, and it is not going good as well. All these areas fall back over to the Russian Empire, and the soldiers that make it, they barely make it. This army that went into Russia was the biggest army the world had ever seen go into a country. Around 1 million troops went into Russia. And, well, only 200,000 are right here. And, well, the Russians, they get around these lines and start cutting off the Cypriots. And now the Cypriots are stuck inside of the Russian territory. The Cypriots start being enclosed on, and, well, a lot of them flee into this major city that is in this territory. And the bloodiest battle of the war is about to happen. We need to get up and close for this one. The Russians start pushing in to this territory, and, well, they sanction off a lot of these lands just like this, like that, and now it is really the battle of this city. I'm just going to call the city Pandora. The battle at Pandora City is commencing right now. As when the Russians push in, the Cypriots push back. Around 100,000 Russians are here, and around 150,000 Cypriots are here. The Cypriots know that they're close to the Cypriot border, so they focus a lot of their troops on pushing into these areas just like this. But as soon as they get close, the Russians push back, and at this point, they almost get to the gates of the city. A counteroffensive in the back is being made, and, well, it is not going good as they start getting squeezed in tighter and tighter inside of the Russian territory. The whole fate of the Cypriot Empire relies on these troops, around 100,000 troops at this point, getting back to the mainland. What's making it even worse as Israel is starting a major push into the Cypriot Empire, but they get stopped here as well. Zalaron may be conscripting right now. And right here is where we see vicious fighting from the people trapped in the city. We see a big push going up, and they actually meet up with the Cyprus border. The around 10,000 people who sacrificed themselves, they allow the rest, like 80,000 people, to flee across these lines and get into Cyprus. These 10,000 people, well, they kind of just fall back with them. And, well, the major city, gets taken back by Russian forces. And a lot of these people who stayed back are killed as this whole front that the Cypressinians have just done falls over to the Russians. 1.5 million Cypriots have just died in this invasion of Russia. To put it into perspective, that is 50% of the Cypriot Empire's military. To make it even worse, Zalaron has just been assassinated. Their population is tired of this war. Rebellions start rising up and even take over the capital. And, well, Cyprus has officially been pulled out of the war. And, well, it leads the Russians to completely take over the rest of these lands over here. Zalaron's third son, well, it's like, I don't know. I'll explain that in the next video because Cyprus has some more lore that needs to be uncovered. But for now, Zalaron's third son takes power, and, well, the communist versus fascist war has just ended. One of the strongest countries in the world has just been dethroned, and although there are some communist and fascist nations like Korea, China, and Yemen, after this, the age of religion has came to an end. Ethnicities aren't as popular, So, like, well, Korea is going to remain a fascist nation, but a lot of the communist countries around the world are going to shift to democracies. Yemen leaves the Cross Alliance because they feel like Korea didn't hold their part up in the war. And what they do is they become a dictatorship. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at the peace treaty. And here is what the peace treaty looks like. Starting off down here in Cyprus, pretty much lost all of their empire, and well, Cyprus was a pretty mid country, so I don't know why you guys liked it so much. A lot of their lands went over to Turkey, and we also have a kind of new Caucasian country being born. Iraq is back as well, and Israel is now pretty much the Israeli Empire. Babylon is gone, and we now have this Cyan country right here. It is now really just Kuwait and Qatar because, well, Yemen is gigantic. They split Kuwait in half, so that way, well, Persian Sea coastline. These colors are from Dark. He's inside of my Discord server. So, anyways, you guys should come join my Discord server. But anyways, Sudan lost pretty much all of their valuable areas, and now it's pretty much just a desert. They were one of the strongest African countries, but they are no longer that strong. Over in Adaria, we see Adaria annexing all of the Spanish lands they conquered, as well as pretty much taking over all of the red team, and well, not all of it, but all the areas that joined up with the red team are now part of Adaria. Libya lost some land over to Israel, but that is okay, because Israel's big. Russia gained all of Ukraine and a lot of the Caucasian regions the Cypriot Empire had. Over in Japan, 2 new nations are born. Korea didn't really go and attack those because Korea is starting to shift away from fascism and more into a monarchy or democratic state. So that is always good. China gained land in Vietnam. We also have a kind of brownish maroon color down inside of this jungle area. Who knows how long it will survive for. Southern Vietnam went over to Indonesia, which is not the old Indonesia. It's pretty much just new Indonesia. India annexed all of this, like, central Indian land. The Indian Federation has grown, and they're not going to go any further down into India. They are going to focus on building up their military and economy because they want to be a world power. Iowa got annexed by the Americans, and Greenland got annexed by Canada. That is pretty much everything that happened, but we do need to talk about something that's happening inside of the Scandinavian Union. So there are 3 capitals inside of the Scandinavian Union, being the Norwegian one, the Danish one, and, well, Stockholm, or the Swedish one. Pretty much all of these capitals just got new leaders because, well, new leaders were kind of elected. Not the Swedish one, though. Their leader died and they got replaced. The son of the Norwegian capital and the son of the Danish one both got new, well, they both came to power. The son of the Swedish one wants Sweden to be its own country. They don't really like this union, but they can't really do anything about it because, well, 2/3 of your country vote to remain a whole country. So the Swedish capital is going to start kind of moving away from the rest of the union, but then the Norwegian one and the Danish one are going to just lasso it back in. This leads to kind of some hatred going on inside of this union, but the Swedish leader is not going to say anything about it yet because, well, they are getting a lot of money right now, so I guess they're gonna, it's fine, I guess. But anyways, I bring to you guys a new era, and this is the modern era where people are going away from this whole religious area, and we're beginning to see, well, we're going to see cars, planes, AK-47s, everything like that. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe. Iowa is gone, Keeg is dead, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye. And today's daily shout out goes over to at Avadas Airbus. He makes some good content. Go check. And then the previous daily shout out was Scary Shekar. I still can't say that. There's a fun Discord server. You guys should go join it. You should join my Discord server. But there's also a kind of role play, fantasy civilization started over Discord. It's linked inside of my Discord. Go check it out. It's pretty dang fun. And Cyprus is mid. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.